Welcome back to The Inspired Entrepreneur with Heather Hope. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Heather Hope with the Inspired Entrepreneur podcast. How are you doing today? Happy Thursday to you. Okay, I've got my breath and I'm doing well. Okay, so let's just jump in. If you're new, welcome. If you're, I don't want to say old, that sounds terrible. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that everybody's here. If you don't know, I am also on YouTube. I think I get more listeners on my podcast than I do YouTube. But so I posted every morning on YouTube. And so it's where you could leave a message for me, in the comment section. It's where you could share with other people if you feel like there's a message for someone that you know. Yeah, but you can totally communicate with me over at YouTube. Over in the podcast, there's like nowhere to say anything. It's really weird. So either way, I'm glad you're here. So let's jump into it. The Inspired Entrepreneur Day, February 25th, 2021. You know what's funny is last night I was thinking about, I did leap year in the book, and we don't have leap year this year. And I was like, no big deal. It's not a big deal, obviously, right? I'll do an extra podcast, no big deal. But the posting of it, and when I was trying to do creating the graphics and then planning, I have to, I plan them out or schedule them out in my, I use Post Planner for my scheduling. And I'm like, how am I going to post February 29th on Facebook or on the podcast or anything? It's an extra day. It's like an extra day that we don't have this year. But it's like, it's so funny because I never thought about it until last night. And I'm like, oh yeah, so how do I post this? Do I? Yes, I do, of course. But whatever. So there's a day that's going to be extra. It's just that the graphic is going to say the 29th, and there is no 29th this year. You know what I mean? It's kind of strange, but I'm surprised I didn't think of that before. Anyhow, oh well, I'll see who catches it. We'll see who catches it. I just don't want to confuse people. Like, you obviously know that I get confused on what day it is. Before I started the podcast. So, I mean, since the podcast, it's like literally not so sure. But you know what? I don't want to keep reaffirming that I suck at knowing what day it is. It doesn't really matter until I start doing, I'm doing loan signing now, and it's like dates are insanely important. So, the other day my dog was barking, and I talked about my massage table was being delivered soon. Yeah, it was. It was right around the corner outside, and I couldn't even tell that they had showed up. So I brought it in, set it up real quick. It's pretty cool. I haven't used it. I haven't been too busy. But anyhow, I think maybe something's being delivered right now. That's why he's freaking. I don't know if you can hear him, but my dog's barking. Okay, so let's jump into today's. Let me find it. February 25th. Part of it is an Abraham quote, and then I included extra thoughts about it. So when you're having trouble making a decision, you're making it too soon. That's Abraham's quote. So I write, line up the energy of what you want to have. Once the energy is lined up, it becomes easier. Allow inspiration to guide you. Exactly. So I think about this a lot. This thing about procrastination, this is a really good lesson to learn from Abraham, procrastination, because there's this whole bad thing in society of procrastinating. But now I understand what that is. It's energy that's not lined up. And if you're trying to make yourself do something when the energy is not lined up, you're going to feel like crap. And it's probably not going to get done. And if it does get done, it really makes no difference because the energy is not lined up, or it's going to be really difficult. It's not time yet. The timing is everything. When you feel like doing something, you will go and do it. This is how I live my life now. So I have times where it seems like I'm really lazy because I don't feel like doing anything. And as long as I'm doing like being in a good mood, like as long as I'm doing that, that's enough because I know that I will get the impulse to do something or the timing will work out where it's like, okay, now I'm going to do it. Like I will have downtime and then all of a sudden I'm doing 15 things at once because it's time. And then things get done and then I'm like, okay, cool. And it got done easily because the energy was lined up. It was time. The universe is like, yes, it's time now. Do it. Go and do it now. So you got to let go of this whole procrastination is bad. It's not. And it's really sad that society makes it all evil and terrible because it's not. Because I spent my whole life beating up on myself for not doing things. And like, I don't deserve that, especially when it's not true. That's what's ridiculous. Society has really screwed us up. Just saying. It really has. So anyway, so when you're having trouble making so this is a decision making thing. And this is another thing about not having enough information or not, it's just not lined up yet to make a decision. Like you're not ready yet to make a decision on something. But if you have to make a decision, sometimes you just have to make one. We go through this almost daily, my husband and I. He makes dinner, and he would love for me, he loves it when I know what I want for dinner. He loves it. He used to cook for his dad. When he was taking care of his dad and his mom for a while, for years, he would make dinner every night. But his dad would not tell him anything. Like, so Roger had to come up with something, and it has to be like home cooked every single night. That's just the way his father was. He was like that. And so, because Roger was his caretaker. And so it literally drove him mad because it's like, there's only so many. And then he'll be like, oh, chicken again. You know, and it's like those things. And it was just one of those things that was annoying because there's a lot of days in the year to make dinner, right? Every single night. And then to hopefully make something that he likes and he doesn't like have a little complaint about it or anything like that. And so when it comes to me, I'm like, at this point, for a while now, I've told him, I really don't care what we have for dinner. I honestly don't care. And he doesn't really like that answer because, and this is where I should tell him to pre-pave this and have a different expectation from me because sometimes I am very clear of what I want and he loves it. So what he needs to do is to start pre-paving the idea of that I'm going to have an idea for dinner. You know, as soon as he comes in and asks me that I'm going to have an idea. That's what he needs to do. Because I would welcome ideas. Like, give me, you know, if Source will give me ideas, that's awesome. If I know what I want for dinner, I get excited. You know, there a couple days ago, I was cleaning up the crumbs off the floor. Like I sweep them in a pile and then I use my dust buster vacuum to suck it all up. And there was a couple of pieces of dry spaghetti, right? Like not uncooked spaghetti. And I was like, oh, spaghetti sounds good. And so I told him that was in the morning. So I told him like soon after that, I'm like, oh, I know what I want for dinner. He's like, what? And I'm like, spaghetti. He's like, awesome. He was so happy because then it's not this decision, you know, it's like decision making fatigue type of thing that they talk about. And I get it because for me, my ex-husband used to ask me, what do you want for dinner? I'm like, I don't care. Honestly, I don't like being asked every day. I've told my husband, like, you know what I like, and I really don't have a preference. And if I do, then I'll tell you hopefully ahead of time. But it would be really cool if you just came up with something. I keep trying to pass it back to him. But he likes to get feedback because he just doesn't, you know, so he'll look up recipes and he'll look up stuff like that to cook for dinner. And so, but it's really funny when I get excited when I think of something and then he gets excited because I made up my mind. And so anyway, when you're having trouble making a decision, you're making it too soon. This is a very small thing, but you know, when I know, I know. When I don't, I don't. I just don't know. I don't know. But if I have to make a decision, Abraham says to choose one. Like if you have two things you have to decide on, or however many, whatever. If you have choices, if you have multiple choice here, choose one. Just choose one and see how you feel about it. Or choose one and line up with it. Choose one and line up with it and see how you feel. If you're just like, no, I really don't want this one, I'll take the other one. You know, that's how you can make a decision when you actually have to make a decision. But otherwise, when it's like bigger things in this life, you're just making the decision too soon, or you're contradicting with negative, like, not sure. Oh, I don't know. I suck at making decisions, and I don't know. Last time I made this decision, it was the bad one, and like that. That's not helpful at all. That just makes things worse. So line up the energy of what you want to have. Once the energy is lined up, it becomes easier. So this morning I wrote, or it was a few days ago for you, on Facebook I wrote, what did I write? Something about doing effort 100% inside the vortex. If that makes sense. Yeah. Because when you're in the vortex and doing all the effort from there, it's very effortless. When you're outside the vortex and you're putting effort into something, it's really hard. It's really hard. So you know you're outside the vortex. Okay, so I'm going to let you go. Today's just really short and sweet. And I will be back tomorrow, guys. So take care and come over to YouTube and say hi. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.